meeting to order. Tammy is present remotely from California and Denny is absent. All other board members are here. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
Republic for which it stands. We don't have any open forum items tonight. Next, we have the approval of our agenda, and we need to add an item at the end of the meeting, a closed session to discuss news on the window settlement proposals. So that's privileged by attorney-client privileges. Is there any other additions we need to make?
I think we're good.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next, we have our consent agenda.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Policy Committee.
We did not meet for January.
Denny's not here, so we won't have reports on the next two items. Community Ed, any information?
On the community ed, we meet tomorrow, so I guess we don't have any report. Everything's been going well that they have planned ahead of time. I have an announcement that was made to the board, but not to the public yet. This is from Christine Nichols, who's a member of the Minnesota Coalition of Women in Athletic Leadership. On behalf of this group, Minnesota Coalition of Women in Athletic Leadership, she is congratulating Ron Gunderson on receiving a Minnesota Girls and Women's in Sports Day Breaking Barriers Award. As some of you may know, Ron will receive this award at a celebration taking place at the Minnesota Center on Wednesday, February 4th from noon until 1. Anybody who would like to attend can contact the superintendent office. And on behalf of the board, I would like to congratulate him also for his efforts. He certainly has done an excellent job for helping girls basketball, and he's been a coach ever since we started, minus 1 or 2 years, we're not too sure. So congratulations, Ron.
He might know that answer.
Did you say where this presentation was, or the award?
Pardon?
Where is this?
Minnesota Center.
It's at the Capitol, I believe.
I don't know, it says Minnesota History Center, that's it.
Which is up there
Thank
by
you.
the Capitol.
On February 4th, noon to 1.
Thank you. Superintendent reports.
Yes, I'll start with the good news. We had a lot of success with our solo ensemble musical festival. This past Saturday at Lakeville South, we had Katie Hummel, Andrew Scheiber, Megan Vikla, Samantha Hibbetson, Austin Wessel, Alex Torp, Alex Schaefer, Cairo Shetka, and Ven Cleansing all received superior ratings on some very difficult solos. Katie Hummel and Ven Cleansing also received Best of Sight Awards for their flute duet, and Maggie Facile received the Best of Sight Award for her flute solo. So we had, for instrumental music, doing a great job. Our program represented New Prague well. I also want to say, too, we have this coming Friday, we have the one-act play. That will be their first, they'll do a public rehearsal, 7 o'clock this Friday at the high school auditorium. So it's open to the public. They'd like to see a good crowd there, so this is like their big rehearsal, and they have subsections the following day. I think it's at Minnetonka High School, if I remember right. A lot of things going on this week. We had, obviously today, Monday off school. We had a teacher work day and professional development day for our staff. But we've got snowball week going on. There's things going on all week and a lot of contest coordination is 7 o'clock this Wednesday. And I think we're going to have some media coverage on that. This Friday, we have a Pep Fest at 1:45 too. So, and then the dance will be on Saturday. It's also Paraprofessional Week, so we want to recognize and thank all our paraprofessionals. I think in all the buildings they got things going on, recognizing and having activities to show their thankfulness for. We just got a tremendous staff and they do a wonderful job. Also want to mention dance team held their first ever invite this past Saturday. I attended. It was, oh boy, a lot of people at this, and they did a great job. Our varsity took first place in jazz, second place in high kick. I should also mention in our Wright County Conference, all the schools have dance teams, and our dance team finished second overall, and that was the week before. And they got sections coming up here, so we want to wish them all the best. Make a plug-in for our defending state champion team, the adapted floor hockey team. They've got a home game this Thursday during Snowball Week, 4:30 at the CEC. And they've gotten great support over the years, and we want to wish them, again, another great year. And I just also want to mention, end on the athletic scene here, our winter sports teams are, gymnastics, of course, is very good again. We've got a number of teams that are ranked in the state. Girls basketball, you talk about Ron Gunderson, they're ranked 4th in the state right now. Boys basketball is at 10th. Boys hockey was in the top 10. I think they're at 15th right now. And I believe girls hockey is ranked 10th in the state. And wrestling, I haven't checked the latest Guillotine rankings, but they're one of the better teams in the state. So a lot of great things going on on the athletic scene too, along with the fine arts and academics. So just want to spend a little time there giving you the good news and the update on all those different activities.
If I could add a couple things. I went to the dancing invitational also, and they did an excellent job. It was their first attempt at it over the years. And the other thing is the one-act play, to remind people, is a short one. And so therefore, if you want to go, you can also attend one of the basketball games is being played that night at the basketball court. So you can see a doubleheader.
Yeah, I think that one act play performance, I talked to Matt Schoenbauer, who's in it. I thought he said 35 minutes. I think.
Time limited.
Yeah, it has a time limit. I'm pretty sure he told us. We interviewed a bunch of students from on our. You can watch the interview. It'll be on the cable access channel, but it's also on our website. But we interviewed students from one act play, being Matt Schoenbauer, choir, band, dance team. Speech just got started, so we interviewed those students, Tony Boothie and I, and on Soup Talk. So you can again see that on the, get that on our website. But yeah, I believe it starts at 7 o'clock this Friday. The one act play. You're right, Don. Get there at 7 o'clock because it starts at 7 and ends at 7:35. And there is a boys basketball game. Obviously, you can go to later, I believe. I hope I have the time right. It's either 7 or 7:30. But check the website. Don't go by my word. So, last thing I'll just say about dance team, just because Don said it, it's amazing. If you remember, we started as a community education sponsored activity until it grew, and then now this is in its second year of being a school sponsored co-curricular activity, and they've come a long way. They've got a very talented group, very dedicated, committed group of coaches and student athletes. So it's fun to watch.
Thank you. Next are action and discussion items. Tonight we need to pass a motion that has the content and the cost for our bond referendum that we want to do on May 5th, I believe it is. I think we have pretty detailed numbers from our facilities task force presentations that were given, and I know the one extra piece of information that we didn't have at our last work session was the cost of adding a zero depth pool to the whole pool facility, and that would be $1 million. So the initial cost was 56 million for all of the additions to the middle school, the transportation, the pool, which was 7 million, and the deferred maintenance in all the buildings that needed to be done. Am I missing one? other thing?
Transportation, I think. Did you
Yeah,
mention
and then
transportation?
renovations to the CEC here for preschool programming.
Yeah, the CEC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And what about the splash pool? When does that come into play with the community if they decide to add on?
That would be a city decision.
That's totally a city decision. No, it has nothing to do with us. We just
What-
offer them the space, correct?
Right, but they've got other spaces they can take a look at, obviously, but this would be one.
And
They're-
there's no time that they have to decide by. So we could do our whole building project, and 2 years from now, they can come in and say, we're going to go for a vote, and as long as there's room, they can add it here, or they can add it some other place.
And one thing I did notice in the paper regarding this joint powers, the city, they talked about 75,000, but in this resolution, it's 50%, correct? As far as sharing
Yeah,
expenses?
that was, right now, it's 75,000 is just projected costs.
But, okay, projected cost.
Yep.
And but it's going to be 50%.
Yep,
Okay,
we're splitting
just
the
making
operating costs.
Sure on that.
And that's, after doing much research on this, Sandy Lynn, myself, checking with other school districts, I've worked with cities, it's common practice. And as I've said before, we can't do this alone. It's got to be a joint, we have to work jointly with the city, and they've been great to work with and very supported and committed, to this project. They've done a resolution, acted on that last week, so.
And I want to point out that because they did this resolution doesn't mean we're assuming it's all going to be done. It's just we were not going to go out for a vote without this agreement because the operating costs are too high to do a pool just as a school district on our own.
Okay. So what you're looking for is just a $56 million, that we go forward with $56 million, or
Well,
how we?
I would say 57 if we want to
57?
have that option. I think there's always, you never know where you're going to go with construction, so you want to have some flexibility. Sandy, you can give us other numbers.
Okay, yeah, of the 56 million, 1 million was on the transportation for the garage.
Okay.
I think for the cost, we might as well leave it included. If we get down to a point where its construction is going to be higher than what we expected, you might have to look at delaying that or doing that at a different time. I think the numbers that we're looking at for the effect to the average price home in New Prague, I don't know if it really makes it worth it taking out something that's only going to save you $2 a year.
Right, the tax impact is very, very slight. I just wanted to make sure that we understood about the transportation building,
Yeah.
that's all.
And I think, I guess you could debate whether it's a want or a need, but it really does help maintain ththose vehicles if they can be stored inside.
Yeah.
So I think it may take 30 years to pay itself off, but in the end, it's better for.
Yeah, it's an investment.
For most would definitely say that's a need.
Yeah.
I would, yeah.
I mean, it's quite expensive to have to start all the vehicles and everything,
Yeah.
yep.
Can I comment quick on the zero depth entrance? That was something that came in later, really not talked too much at the facilities task force meetings, but having a zero depth entrance, I think I'd recommend having that. I think it's going to be very important to have. I think the location of the pool coming out of the CEC will truly make this a true community center. And I think, I've said this over and over again, it's truly, we got to meet the needs of all ages, and it's got to be intergenerational. What I mean by that, it's got to be from toddler all the way up to senior citizen. And if we don't have a zero depth entrance, we won't have that. So again, to be able to meet the needs of all ages, I think it's something that I would recommend we do. I think it'll be something we'll regret if we don't, and it'd be hard to justify that, again, if it's going to be truly more of a community center, if it's just based for, certain age groups.
And I think the facilities task force looked at it more as just a K through 12 study, and we kind of expanded it a little bit more after we made it all the way through that discussion.
And go ahead. At what point are we going to be presented with what one question would look like or two questions? It sounds based on our work session that was only going to be either the one question or a second one question or one with two questions with just a pool. Are we going to see exactly how that's going to be worded before the next meeting?
Sandy Munchins.
I assume we don't have that tonight, but we'll be.
Right, yes. I've been in touch with Tom Deans and Pat Woods, and basically after tonight we know the content and the dollar amount. I'm going to forward that information to them. They're going to draft 2 resolutions for the February 9th meeting. One will be 2 questions, one will be 1 question. And then after your discussion on February 9th, the board can decide which one to pass.
Okay.
And we'll have those available in advance.
And I'm assuming, based on what I've heard in the discussion, the second question, when you do the 2 questions, just will include the pool. We don't want to put transportation or deferred maintenance on that. I guess that's up to this board to decide.
Right,
I mean,
that's, right now I'm assuming it's just the pools
That's-
in the second question, but you could certainly do
That's
something
right.
different,
I mean,
yeah.
Is anybody here, you've had 2 weeks to think about it, does anybody want to change that, or?
Well, I'm of the opinion that we just want to go with 1 question with what is needed for the community and not have a second option. So I don't know what the second question should look like.
Well, I think there should be 2 questions and give the people a choice, but I do want to see how it's phrased, and I don't want next week, if Sandy just comes up with a second question that involves the pool, a board member says, well, maybe we should have put deferred maintenance on there too. I just want to make sure the board's aware of that tonight's your chance to say something. And I think in 2 weeks, that's eventually we decide whether it's 1 or 2 questions, or
Correct.
a third
But-
question if
So
somebody
the
wants a third
question is,
question
what's
out
the
there.
point of the second question? If it's the point of just saying yes or no to the pool, then it should just be the pool. If it's a point to say, let's take off $7 million of this referendum to change the cost of it, then that would be open for discussion as to whether that should be deferred maintenance. And you could make an argument for making it $7 million of deferred maintenance because there's a chance that we'll be able to do that in a different way 2 years from now.
Possible.
I wouldn't choose to take that chance, but
I guess my argument would be that deferred maintenance usually isn't controversial, where swimming pools can be controversial. And with so many people from outside the community, agriculture, New Market, Elko, their voices need to be heard, in my opinion. And if there's 1 question, just a swimming pool, and it gets turned down, well, then the community's not ready for a swimming pool. And we're just here to present it. We can't say whether we're for or against it. We just want to give the options to the community, our voters.
And I would say that means it should just be the pool. And if that, for the second
That's what
question,
I
actually,
think too,
yeah.
just the pool. But again, other board members have a choice to weigh in. We don't want to be surprised. in
Jerry
2
and I
weeks.
can talk all night about this.
And they have.
Yeah, I'm gonna move forward with the assumption that the second question is just the pool unless I hear different, and I'll be
Yes.
sending the email in the morning, so.
I think everyone's fine with that.
Sandy, can I ask, with the bonds we've renewed already, do you have an estimate amount of what we've saved already for the taxpayers by doing that, by us renewing our bonds on existing?
I believe it's $3 million.
That that's the impact that we've saved.
Right, over a
for-
period of about 12 to 15 years, depending upon when we refinance them, yes.
And I want to just talk about this. And we're talking about going out this spring for a referendum, whether it's May 5th or it could be later in May. But the interest rates right now are excellent. And obviously, we can get this done with a much lower tax burden than at times of higher rates. And I think we need to make a point about what you're saying, Sherry, that we've saved over $3 million by reinvesting or refunding those bonds. So, but if there is a time right now for low interest rates,
And to do
now's the time. I don't know
pool,
if-
this is it. I mean, as far as the interest rates and what we have to work with.
Right, and all indications are from the Fed that they will be increasing interest rates towards the mid to end of this year. Of course, they can decide to do what they want to do, but that's the indication they've given, so.
Well, and I think if you went and compared to what our bonds were when we built, the elementary schools,
Right, they were at
you'd
4%.
say you're getting the pool for free.
Oh, well, that, and see, that's, I think, how we need to educate, because we know that. We need to let everyone else know the same.
Yes.
I just had a question, so I have to back up a little bit. For senior usage and preschoolers, for example, would they be able to have access during the day, during the school day, because they wouldn't, would this be would the pool be in use during the school day for seniors to have access and preschoolers, for example?
I mean, that's something we have to check out, but yes, I'm assuming that.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just take our gyms right now. I mean, there's a 2-hour block in the middle of the day. Basically, a lot of times the gym's open, so we don't, during the lunch hours. There are schools that have classes still going on, and especially when you have zero depth entrance, you could have multiple activities going on at the same
Okay.
time. And
And the way the
obviously,
design is, it's going to be shut off from the rest of the CEC, so they'll be able to go in and use it with just, preschool or just seniors in there and not disrupt the school
And that was
day
my
at all.
next question. Is there a separate entrance for them?
yes, it will
Okay,
be,
that was
it'd be
my-
down by the CEC, by the parking lot there. And besides the swimming pool, we have the gymnasium right there. And then we'll also have at least one multi-purpose room,
Yeah.
whether it's, could be for seniors, senior citizen usage, cards. It could be an exercise room. It could be reserved for swimming pool parties on the weekend, but
Community ed classroom
yeah,
extra. one.
community ed classroom, it could be multiple things. So it goes back to, like I said, it turns into more of a true community center
Yes.
and one that's intergenerational.
I mean, even if the fitness centers wanted to use it for memberships or however they wanted to, have the facility use.
Yep.
You'd enter those doors where you go into the gym, so straight ahead to the gym or to the left to the pool, and then there'd be some kind of a close-off door to the right, so it can be separated off.
Yeah, and I know it was mentioned in the work session, but I just wanted to clarify. Good.
And I believe after 40 years of debate and arguing, I think where we've got it now is an ideal place for it,
Oh,
for
good. Okay.
the community and everything else. I mean, it is, I don't see any better place in the community for it, so that's ideal.
Tammy?
Did she have something to say?
Tammy?
So my one question would be, what would be the cost, because I missed that part, was if we did just the pool versus the zero gravity entrance, what's the difference?
Zero depth. It was $1 million, but they thought to add that zero depth entrance, which would be a little smaller pool to the side of the lap pool.
Okay.
Looking for a motion now, or
On
are we ready?
Content and cost.
Content and cost, or how do you want to phrase it?
Yeah, is there any, I mean, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
Okay, you got to phrase it properly.
Well, then I'll let you phrase it.
But
How do you want it phrased? We need a,
Dollar amount and then items you want included.
okay. I make a motion that we go forward with a referendum based on a cost of $57 million that would include the improvement to the middle school, the swimming pool, deferred maintenance, transportation, and a demolition of the 1923 building.
Second that.
Is there any other that we're supposed to add? I think that covers the
Deferred
five.
maintenance to Falcon Ridge.
Deferred maintenance for all, basically for the
schools,
district.
And
Deferred.
then,
And the CEC
I don't know if you want the
space.
CEC renovation.
Okay, and CEC renovate, and CEC renovation, so that's 6 items, I believe? Okay, I'll make that
That
motion.
sound right?
Maybe we should say a zero depth entry pool, just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
To include a zero-depth entry pool, so that'd be 7 different items. And we probably should, is somebody writing this down? I want to read back what we said to make sure it's correct.
Do we want to say the ECFE? Because it's really early childhood, not the CEC, right?
No, we have to say CEC
Oh, we
because
do.
Because this
Okay.
whole
we'll still have other
building is
programs here.
Okay,
called-
okay, so I wanna clarify
It is
again.
long, we probably should have
Yeah.
written it up ahead of time.
So, can someone repeat the motion?
We're just getting there. Are you ready? Or-
7 million to include renovations to CEC.
Deferred maintenance
I'll
to
second.
district buildings instead of the Falcon Ridge. Just,
District, yes, district buildings.
I don't think there's anything on Ravenstream and but we might as well
But that
just.
covers everything, all district buildings.
Well, I do think that a phone system is part of the deferred maintenance, and that would affect all buildings actually if,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So I'd prefer to say district buildings.
Okay.
I'll second
Okay.
Any further?
I already
discussion?
seconded it.
Oh, okay, she wants her name in the
Don't
minutes.
fight over it.
Any further discussion?
No, I think it's been covered well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next on the agenda, alternate day kindergarten discussion.
I think if we basically follow the procedure we did last year, we should just go ahead with it. We have a minimum of 15 students that we need, I believe, or 17?
18.
18, okay. So I'm going to make a motion that we stick with what last year with 18 minimum students in this. If it gets less, then we'll have to rethink it, but just go ahead and continue the way we did last year.
A second.
We're just simply offering the option, right?
Yes.
And it has to be 18 at whichever school, so
And,
we'll find
we're-
out once registering.
we're
And
not-
there'll be a date, an earlier date,
A deadline.
deadline, yeah.
Are we,
We'll probably have a deadline probably about 3 weeks, 4 weeks at the most after the kindergarten registration.
are we, back on the motion? Are we putting an option on where it's gonna be?
It's by the building. And this year, it was Eagle View is the only one that had enough numbers for it. And I think it's good to have choice, and if we have enough, I think it's wonderful. And obviously, like Jerry said, if we don't have enough, we won't be able to do it and just have to.
Could you, correct me if I'm wrong, Eagle View is bigger than, Raven Stream, isn't it?
No,
Isn't there?
no,
some
the enrollment numbers right now is Raven Stream and Falcon Ridge are at 625. No?
Space-wise.
Oh. Space-wise, a little bit bigger because they have preschool edition at Eagle View, so it's bigger than Raven Stream.
Yeah, okay.
Did you second it? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next, we need to approve a grant from the New Prague Area Education Foundation for a mentoring class. It's $235 that they're giving for a supplemental book to be used for the high school's mentoring class, which includes thought-provoking ideas written by a professor who has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The last lecture is the name of the book. And we don't have to have a resolution for the ones from the Education Foundation.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A second.
Too late. Further discussion?
You're out.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Next, we have a request to add a district-sponsored activity, the Gay Straight Alliance Club, which would be an after-school club, co-curricular activity. Was presented at our work session 2 weeks ago.
Yep, and our high school principal, Lonnie Seifert, is recommending this for approval, and they've gone through the application process and been approved and recommended. When it goes through this process, like we mentioned at the work session, it be recommended as a co-curricular activity, a club activity, or community ed activity. Examples of those activities, for example, community education would be what dance team started as, or archery is a community ed sponsored. It's still a school district activity, still school sponsored, but it's governed by community education. This one would be stay within the high school and be a club activity. I'm guessing we have about 14 or 15 other clubs right now. And for example, one of the most visible ones is our Proud group. And that's basically an anti-bullying group, so it'd be similar to that.
In the proposal, which can be seen online, it would meet bi-monthly. We already have a staff member who's volunteered to help advise the club, and there's been a donation given for startup costs to get the club going.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
No, we talked
Can
about it at the
can I just
work
make a?
session. Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to just make a comment for Cable Land. This was started at Belle Plaine, and it's been going on for 4 years at Tri-City, Montgomery, Lee Center, and Lonsdale. So it's not anything new, and I'm not sure about Jordan or Pearl Lake, but I'm sure that they probably have started it and had it for a while too.
Yeah, there are many schools in the state. I think some even had them when I was in high school in Colorado. But I think it's a great opportunity for our students and a good activity for us to support. Any other comments?
Do we have a second?
Yep.
No.
All in favor?
No,
Aye.
okay, we
Wait,
don't.
we'd have a second.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Motion passes 6-0. Next, we need a motion to go into closed session for,
Break, yeah. Yeah.
So
I'll make that
moved.
motion.
okay.
Second.
So we'll go into break. In 5 minutes, we'll reconvene in the conference room to discuss the window arbitration.